Chris, I might go to you because we're going to talk to the gentleman here about each of your use cases, but you've probably been one of the longest. Your P&N Group are one of the earliest adopters in open banking. So maybe just for the audience, give a view of what you're doing now with CDR data and where you see it going.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Simon. So we run multiple brands. So P&N Bank in WA or the West Coast, and BCU Bank here over the East Coast. So we launched what we call mymo, which is effectively a white label PFM app, obviously powered by Frollo. So that went live in October, to Simon's point, in P&N and March in BCU. So it's still relatively new. And FY23 was very much about getting them launched, and then we're switching focus, which I'll kind of talk to a bit shortly. We've also recently, like many are, become obviously curious about time to yes and the mortgage application / origination process. And there's obviously many points in that where you can intervene. We've looked at that end to end, and we think we've found a little sweet spot in terms of that process. Where we can leverage open banking data to help take friction out for the customer, but also help our time to yes and take out some sort of back office costs, etc. There's a lot of smart people in this room, so I'll let you work out kind of where that might be in that process. But we're 6 weeks into a 3-month proof of concept at the moment. We're seeing some early data, and it's looking as expected, so that's looking quite promising as well.
Yeah, great. And I'm really interested, we were talking before about just your view on CDR being used across multiple use cases and how you see the benefit of bringing the data into a business and then being able to use it in many different places. Give us some view on that.
Yeah, look, I mean, I probably reflect on that question in terms of some of the challenges that we've had and then what are we doing about that. So, certainly, as I said, FY23 was about getting it embedded, getting it launched. That was done. Obviously, it was new. So there was your usual suspects around training, making sure people are comfortable with it, getting them using the app so then they can obviously talk to our own customers about. I think one of the biggest challenges that we had, and I sort of came in late in the process. I was there to kind of be the cherry picker to launch the apps, which was kind of nice, but a lot of the heavy lifting had been done before I arrived. But there seemed to be this kind of thought process around the organisation that this was going to be a silver bullet, this kind of PFM app that we launched, and people would just come from nowhere and kind of there would be this huge kind of take up, right? So it was being thought about as a product in its own right. And one of the biggest transitions that we've made over the last kind of 6 to 8 months is thinking about this in everything that we do. So it kind of slithers right across the organisation, our products. So, how's it integrated into our frontline conversations? How does it integrate into all of our products, etc. Even basic things like doing audits of our retail web pages to kind of make sure that it's being spoken about in the right areas where customers are obviously going to certain pages because they're curious about it. Wouldn't it be great when they're going to the budgeting app for a mortgage that the mymo app might be there, because it wasn't, right? So that sounds really dumb almost and basic, but it's kind of just taking a step back. But then also thinking about that in terms of obviously now we are getting traction. Now we've got some apps downloaded. We're seeing people engaged in it. Obviously we're now starting to see that rich data in terms of obviously where our customers have other relationships, etc. I wish we probably put the explicit consent for direct marketing in earlier, and we're kind of facing into that now. But that's obviously the next opportunity. But it's also just ensuring that you're not confusing those two things. Keep the front line focused on apps in hand engagement, and then keep kind of the back office, the data teams, the marketing teams on kind of the other opportunities around the data, etc. So that's what we're seeing in the organisation around our journey so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating. I think a lot of people, that's the benefit of being an early adopter, is you've been able to kind of get through that first use case and then look much more broadly at how you can use the data, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think just to round that out as well is that, the education piece never stops. I mean, even though, yes, we're an early adopter, internally, it's still a constant conversation, let's say, with the executive team and more broadly to make sure that there's the ongoing buy-in. And I don't think that'll ever really stop, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's plenty of people in the room who would agree with that. They thought it might be one and done, even if it was just compliance. And as we know, it's something you have to bake into your business ongoing.
Absolutely.